We'll start with the prayer. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम Wonderful. Thank you all for joining today. Thank you, Naresh Prabhu. Thank you, Bimesh Prabhu. Thank you, Satya Prabhu, for joining in.
Prabhuji, I'll be on mute and off the camera, Prabhuji. I'm
Okay,
driving.
no problem,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
I'll be listening. Yeah.
No problem. So we are reading text 11 today just to connect the dots. What we have been discussing so far. In the 9th verse, we talked about the holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior than Vaikuntha. We talked about what the position of Mathura is superior than Vaikuntha, and Vrindavan's position is superior than Mathura. And Vrindavan, we discussed about 12 forests, which are considered to be why Mathura is superior than Vaikuntha, because Krishna took the birth there. And how Vrindavan is superior than Mathura, because Krishna performed his Ras Leela pastime there and many other pastime. And how how Govardhan is superior, because Krishna would come daily there to herd cows and he performed various pastimes there. And in Govardhan, what is the topmost place? We talked about Radha Kund. We talked about how Radha Kund appeared. And then the next verse we talked about, in the 10th verse, we talked about in the Shastra, it is said that of all type of fruitive workers, what is other than more better than fruitive workers are Gyani. And out of many Gyanis, there are few Gyanis who actually try to perfect, or they want to actually work on renounce. They are trying to work on getting liberation. They are superior. And of all them who are superior, Bhaktas are superior. Out of thousands of Bhaktas, there are those who actually always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. They are superior. And of them, Gopis are the most superior, and of Gopis, Srimati Radharani is superior. So you see, there is a gradient, there is a hierarchy. Hierarchy is not bad. Hierarchy has its own significance, because the level of consciousness of these people are varying, right? That's what we discussed in verse 10. We covered 10, right? Last week. So now we are moving to text 11. Please forgive me. So we will read the verse first. Krishna Krishnasya yoche pranaya vasati प्रेयसीयोऽप्यापि राधा
कृष्णा शोच्या प्रणय वासित प्रेयसीभ्योऽपि राधा
कुन्दं चास्या मुनिभिरभितस्तद्रग एव व्यादगी व्यादयी
कुन्दं च सा मुनिभिरभितास्ताद्र एव व्याध्या हि
यत्पृष्ठेरपि अलम् अशुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिं भाजाम्
यत्प्रेत्येरपि अलम् अश्लुभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजम्
तत्प्रेमदं सकृदपि सरः स्नतु अविक् अविष्करोति
तत्प्रेदां सकृदपि सरस्नुतुर्दि अविष्करोति
Beautiful. Of the many objects of favor, delight, and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kunda is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy water, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. So very beautiful verse, which is talking about connecting to the previous verse. All these verses are interconnected. Like you go chapter by chapter, so these verses are interrelated. So we are at the verse which is talking about the position of Srimati Radharani and ultimately position of Sri Radha Kund, how it is the best, how it is the ultimate of everything else we can think about. So Srimati Radharani, who is she? Srimati Radharani is actually expansion of Krishna. So Krishna, when he wanted to have someone to be in love with, from his left, Srimati Radharani appeared. And then her whole existence is around how can I please Krishna. We in this world are so busy, so crowded, serving our mind and senses.
materialistic.
Exactly. Thinking about what is in it for me. But Srimati Radharani, for her, everything is how can I please Krishna. I gave this example the other day when Krishna had a headache one day. Narada Muni said, "What can I get for you?" He said, "Get the dust of
Devotees
the."
of them.
Yeah. And everyone shied away because they have to live eternally in hell if they offer their dust of their lotus feet. However, Gopi
Gopi
said,
says here.
"Yeah, we are eternally ready to go to hell.
Because
We
of
are
Krishna.
correct because we want to please Krishna." So that is their highest position, and Srimati Radharani is the topmost. You see, all the acharyas actually they have their place there near Radha Kund. They did meditation. They did actually whole tapasya there near Radha Kund. You see, Raghunath Das Goswami. Who was Raghunath Das Goswami? Raghunath Das Goswami was a son of trillionaire at that time. Chaitanya, we are talking about around 500 years. He was a son of trillionaire, but his only desire was to attain the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Why Lord Chaitanya? Because he is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He is non-different from Radha and Krishna. So that is the glory of Lord Chaitanya. Why did Lord Chaitanya appear? There are three external reasons and there are three internal reasons. But most important, the internal reason is Krishna wanted to experience love of Srimati Radharani because he has been seeing that Srimati Radharani loves him so much, but you cannot experience what they are experiencing. So he wanted to get into the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's why Lord Chaitanya appeared, who is Krishna himself, but he is in the mood of Radharani. He wants to experience what Srimati Radharani is experiencing when she sees me. Right? So that's why Lord Chaitanya appeared. So Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to attain the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, and he wanted to leave his house and just want to dedicate his life serving Lord Chaitanya, but he wouldn't be able to go. We just performed the drama on Nityanand Tirodashi, so he wouldn't be able to go because his parents blocked. Actually, they put a lot of soldiers so that he can't escape, because he was the only son of their parent, so they didn't want him to go and take sannyas, so they were holding him. One time, one of their Kulaguru, he had a temple there and there was no pujari. So he came to Raghunath Das Goswami. But before he went, he reached out to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I want to surrender. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, don't become a Markat Vairagi. What is Markat Vairagi is?
Without renouncing
Markat is like
marriage,
monkeys.
kids, and then if they become sannyasi, I think that is
No,
right?
he is saying different here.
Okay.
That's a good call, or not necessary. Brahmachari can also go to Sanya. Not necessarily they have to get married. But he says, don't take Markat Vairagi. What is Markat Vairagi? Markat means monkey. Monkey renunciation is what monkeys are also vegetarian. But they are looking to enjoy sex, opposite sex here and there. Right? So he said, don't become Markat Vairagi. You serve your family in such a way they feel that within your heart you love me, you offer your homage unto me, but externally you do your duty that way. This is very important principle Lord Chaitanya is teaching, that we should do whatever is needed to live in this world, but in our heart of the heart we should give our heart to Srimati Radharani, Krishna and Lord Chaitanya ultimately. So then he actually came to Nityanand Prabhu, he got his blessing. And then next, episode happened where his Kulaguru said, oh, I don't have a pujari, will you come? He said, yeah, why not? He came there. And on the way, he actually escaped from there and went to Lord Chaitanya and then surrendered themselves. And Raghunath Das Goswami was told by Lord Chaitanya that you go near Radha Kund. And then this is where after Lord Chaitanya departed, he was feeling so much of separation from Lord Chaitanya. So he came actually to Govardhan. He thought, what is the purpose of my life if I can't actually be associating with Lord Chaitanya? He said, I'll do suicide. But then Rupa Goswami said, no, you have a treasure. Because you experienced Lord Chaitanya's pastime when he was in Jagannath Puri. You should actually tell all these pastimes. And that's how actually he resided there in Radhakund. One time he was there at Radhakund, he was doing the holy name chanting. He was just doing tapasya of chanting the holy name in a very hot sun. Srimati Radharani personally appeared and put her chaddar on top of him so that he can do meditation. Another time, he wouldn't have actually hut or anything like that. He would just sit under a tree, different tree, and would do his chanting, his japa. One time a lion came. And then Srimati Radharani was protecting him. Krishna was protecting him. So that was his devotion, where everything is near Radha Kund. It's a very holiest of holy places. Prabhupada writes, why is Radha Kund so exalted? The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani. We discussed about how that lake appeared.
Yes.
Who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna? That is Srimati Radharani. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake Sri Radhakund is also described by great sages as the lake that is dear to Krishna and Radha herself. I mentioned last time, Krishna said, I'll come every day. This will be the most favorite of my place, and I'll come every day to take a bath here. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radhakund and Srimati Radharani is the same in all respect. So when I went to Sri Radhakund this time, when I went to Vrindavan 2024, so when I went, we actually reached on Radhakund appearance day. Millions of people were waiting in the queue. How much distance?
So
2 miles.
to take bath.
You can take a bath there. Even there, hardly 1 or 2 mile distance. It took 6 hours for us to actually reach to the Kund. 6 hours. That much line. Huge queue. Why? Because this is Radha Kund appearance day. And everyone knows in Vrindavan what is the Mahima, what is the Leela, what is the significance of Radha Kund. Sri Radha Kund is very rarely attended even by great personalities fully engaged in devotional service. Not to speak of ordinary devotees are only engaged in practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. It is stated that the devotee will at once develop pure love for Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kund. One time, not to talk about Radha Kund, but Narada Muni actually wanted to enter Rasa Leela. So he approached the gopis. Gopis said, you take a bath in this kund, which actually later became a Naradiya kund. He took the bath and he took the form of a gopi there. And he entered into Rasa Leela. His name was Naradiya Gopi. So he entered there. This is a very highest level of expression one may have. It's not a man-woman relationship which we think in material world. It's a very higher platform. So it is stated, devotee will at once attain pure love of Krishna in the wake of gopis if he once take a bath in Radha Kund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on bank of Radha Kund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is the most important item in execution of devotional service. Now it's very important what should be the mood. Srila Prabhupada said, because when his disciple entered Radha Kund, they thinking that this is the kund to enjoy water, they started playing. Srila Prabhupada asked them, this is the biggest offense, biggest sin you can perform. When one enters to Radha Kund, he should not have a single material desire. Not a single material desire. We should actually ask for spiritual benefits here and actually go with the highest mood of remembering Radha Krishna, remembering Srila Prabhupada, remembering our Guru, and how can we serve that mission. That's why it's very important to take a bath in that mood. Otherwise, we should just put 3 drops of water on our head. That's how it should be. This is the most important item in execution of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this connection that Sri Radha Kund is the most sacred place of those interested in advancing their devotional service, not by material benediction. In the wake of lady friends, sakhis, and confidential serving maids, manjaris. Now, this is very important. We did not cover this. So, there are various gopis who are associates of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. But there are manjaris who actually serve Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Right? So that is the position of manjari. Like Rupa Goswami who's writing this book, his position is Rupa Manjari. Living entities who are eager to return home to transcendental kingdom of God, Golok Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, which is called as Siddha Deha, should live at Radhakund. I'll pause here and want to comment on that. So right now, what is our identity? We have material identity. We are XYZ person, we do XYZ, we live in XYZ country, whatever it is. And then that keep changing. Like for an example, I'm young today,
Company changes.
changes,
Age
profession changes,
changes.
even gender changes today in this way. So that identity is temporary. But we all have a permanent identity in spiritual world that is called as Siddha Deha. We Siddha Deha. When we leave this body, we perfect our life practicing Krishna consciousness. We attain that Siddha Deha, which is not temporary, which is eternal. Right? So, should live at take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha and under the direction, engage constantly in service. This is very important. This is actually how should one practice Krishna consciousness. When you grow in bhakti, you have to identify one person whom your mood, whose mood matches with you. For example, we talked about Raghunath Das Goswami. He was very renounced. You know what he would do? He would actually stand outside Jagannath. He's a trillionaire, son of a trillionaire. And then he would stand near Narsimha Dwar of Jagannath Puri temple. And whatever people will donate him, whatever prasad they gave him, that he will eat. The next week, he was not even going to near Narsimha Dwar because he was thinking when someone come, I think about maybe he's going to give me something, maybe he is going to give something. So which means I'm discriminating. So he stopped eating that. So what he would do is he would go, whatever people will throw, he will take that. Next week, he went even to the next level. So after people they throw, the cows eat. And what cows throw, he would eat that. He will take few of that, wash them, boil that this thing, and just eat that. That was his renunciation. Right? So same way we need to identify the person in Chaitanya Leela whom we actually understand, whose mood reciprocate with us. And then you develop that attitude. We were just doing the drama a couple of weeks back on Lord Chaitanya Leela. There were 3 personalities, Shamanand Pandit, and then Narottam Das Thakur, and Srinivas Acharya. Very great personalities. They were the students of Jiva Goswami. These are 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, who wrote this book. Sanatan Goswami, who was his brother, Sri Rupa Sri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Raghunath Bhatt, whom I mentioned about, Sri Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta, Raghunath Das, whom talked about. So these are 6 Goswamis, and there are various other Goswamis who are following their footsteps. So we were talking about Narottam Das Thakur, and then we were talking about Shamanand Pandit. What was the qualification of Shamanand Pandit? Shamanand Pandit, his name was Dukhi Krishna. Dukhi means sad, whose life is filled with sadness. So what was his service? His spiritual master said, "You go and sweep the floor in Vrindavan." So he would actually sweep the floor in Barsana, actually not Vrindavan, Barsana, which is the place of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani was born in Raval, and then after that Rawat actually, and then they moved to Barsana. So they were moved to Barsana. That's where they were living. In Barsana, he would sweep the floor. One day, he found an earring. He found an earring. The moment he touched, he felt ecstasy. And he said, "This is not an ordinary earring. This is something very special." And in the spiritual world, Srimati Radharani found, "Oh, I don't have this my earring. Where did it go?" So she asked Lalita Sakhi, "You go and find out." Lalita Sakhi disguised herself in the form of another gopi, and she came and she approached Shamanand Pandit. "Have you seen any earrings?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Give it to me." He said, "No. Who owns that?" He said, "One of my friend whom I worship. She owns that." He says, "No, I want to give her myself."
Mm.
And Lalita Sakhi, he felt there is something special about this. So Lalita Sakhi took him, disguised, and took it to Srimati Radharani. And when he saw the beautiful darshan of Srimati Radharani, he got so mad. And Srimati Radharani blessed him. What she blessed him, she put in this earring on his head. It made a permanent tilak for him. It's a special tilak Shaman and Pandit got. And Srimati Radharani said, "Now you go back." He started crying. My dear Srimati Radharani, it took so many millions of lifetimes to finally have your darshan, and you're asking me to go back? How will I live? Srimati Radharani from her heart made a deity of Krishna and gave it to made the deity of Srimati Radharani and gave it to him. He said, "You worship, and from today your name will be Shamananda Pandit, not Dukhi Krishna." So he became Shamanand Pandit, came on the earthly planet, and they 3 people became great friends. Who? Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and then Shamanand Pandit. What was the qualification of Narottam Das Thakur? Lord Chaitanya, one time near Bangladesh, he was walking through the river, which is the pond, which is called as Padma River. And Lord Chaitanya started loudly calling, "Narottam, Narottam, Narottam." Everybody started thinking about who is Narottam. Maybe some personality who will come in future. So Lord Chaitanya took Nityanand Prabhu there. He told him, "I'm going to go and take a bath in Padma River, and I will deposit the love of Srimati Radharani in that kunda, in that Padma River. In future, there'll be a wonderful personality whose name will be Narottam. He will come here. You inspire him to take a bath, and then he will get the love of Godhead." So while this was happening, Padma River asked, "How do I know who's Narottam?" He said, "The moment he touches feet in river, you will go in ecstasy. The river will overflow. That time you will understand Narottam." So near the place near Bangladesh, there was a village called as Keturi. In that village, Narottam Das Thakur was born. And one day Nityanand Prabhu came in his dream. You go and take a bath in this Padma River. So Early morning, he went and took a bath. The moment he entered, Padma river overflew. So she understood he is none other than Narottam Das Thakur. And then actually, she gave that whatever treasure of love of Godhead she kept for him, she gave it to him. And Narottam Das became mad in love of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. He couldn't actually understand anything of this material world, and he was also a son of a trillionaire. So he also, like Raghunath Das Goswami, somehow escaped and then came in search of love of Krishna. By this time, Lord Chaitanya and all Panchatattva has already departed from this world. But they all actually came at Radha Kund and did lot of services and their meditation there. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radha Kund to take their bath. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? Imagine what a wonderful opportunity we have. If by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radha Kund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna exactly as the gopis did. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radhakund and should be absorbed in loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material consumption. All material consumption. There are very rare, very highest sages actually be around Radhakund and they take a bath there. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radhakund and should be absorbed in loving service of the Lord. One should bathe regularly and give up all material consumption, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during this lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Sri Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life in the bank of Radhakund. Very important, like I was sharing. When you take a bath in Radhakund, you actually cry in separation of Radha Krishna, calling out, I'm so much suffering, thinking that I'm the enjoyer in this material world. But my real home is this, real home is Golok Vrindavan. Please help me attain that. Please help me serving that divine couple of Sri Radha Krishna. The conclusion is that to live in the banks of Radha Kund and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages like Narada. Thus, there is no limit of glories of Sri Radha Kund. By serving Radha Kund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. That is the highest place one can actually meditate on. Very beautiful. You see, when you see we are on 11th verse, let's see how the sequence went because they are actually the stepping stones to go to the highest level of bhakti. What is the first words which talked about is we should control the urge to speak. What should we speak? We should only speak about Krishna Katha. We should control the mind, the urges of the mind who is trying to enjoy various activities in this material planet. And we should control our anger and urges of tongue, which is eating,
Taste.
genitals, enjoying sex life. One has to start there. What is the next thing one has to do is what there are 6 activities which spoil devotional service. Connecting to the first one, eating more than necessary, collecting more funds than required. And second is over endeavoring for mundane things. Third is talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matter. Fourth is practicing scriptural rules and regulations just for the sake of this material world enjoyment, not for spiritual identity. And associating with worldly minded people who have nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. And being greedy for mundane achievements. These are the 6 things which spoil devotional service. What are the 6 things which gives you devotional service? Being enthusiastic, sharing our heart in confidence with other devotees to actually share where am I struggling. And that has to, the devotee has to keep these things in confidence. Being patient, not that, oh, I need devotional service, I want to complete perfection in right now. No. And then hearing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, these are 9 stages of devotional service. Abandoning the association of non devotees, we talked about that, what is stopping, and this is improving. And following the Acharya, following the footsteps of great Acharyas, like we were discussing about these wonderful Acharyas. In Raghunath Das Goswami, we were talking about Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and who was the other person we discussed about? Narottam Das Thakur, Shaman and Pandit. These are the 3 people we talked about. And then the fourth one, this is now in positive sense. First 2 verses is what not to do.
Not to do.
Now, what are the things we have to improve? So, relationship management is 3, chapter 3. Not that you have relationship management with only family, devotee association. Fourth is how do we develop that relationship by giving gifts and charity, inviting devotees to your home, feeding them prasad, and revealing one's mind and confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad. Then fifth one should mentally honor the devotee. There are 3 kind of devotees we talked about: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. Who are these 3 devotees? One should offer humble obeisance to devotees who has undergo spiritual initiation diksha, engage in worshipping the deity, and one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure who is advanced in undeviated devotional service, whose heart is completely devoid of propensity of citizen criticize others. And then we Prabhupada mentions for the text 6, Goswami mentions further that a pure does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. He may apparently have material faults, but we shouldn't think that, right? And we should actually develop loving relationship, and we follow that, not that we see the external body and think that he's not a pure devotee. Chapter 7 talked about the holy name, character, and pastime of Krishna are sweet like sugar candy. But why we are not able to experience? Because we have a jaundice. So, what is the solution? That we have to keep chanting the names of Krishna, and one day we'll be able to taste the sugar candy as it is, as sweet, not bitter. Then the text 8 actually talked about essence of all the advices. One should utilize one's full time, 24 hours, in chanting the holy name, which is the cure for the jaundice. And remembering Nama. Nama means chanting.
Sure.
Rupa, correct. Rupa, remember seeing the beautiful form of the Lord and remembering the beautiful form. Guna, thinking about the beautiful guna qualities of Krishna. Like today, Srimad Bhagavatam class, Shamanand Krishna Prabhu was mentioning about various qualities and Leela, different pastimes of Krishna. We discuss various pastimes there in that verse. And then one has to actually understand 8 words we talked about. One should mentally, while chanting, one should mentally stay in Vraja, in Vrindavan. Even if we are not able to physically do that, but by chanting, we can meditate on that. And coming back to text 9, how Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha. Vrindavan is superior to Mathura, and Govardhan is superior to Vrindavan. And in top, in the most wonderful place in there is Radha Kund. How Radha Kund is superior. And then text 10, it's actually talking about there are karma kandis. Karma kandis means what? They have nothing to do with spirituality. They just want to enjoy life. The next level of people are called karma yogi. The moment yogi comes, which means they have some connection with God. But what they do is they want to enjoy the fruits. Everyone, they wanted to perform these activities, but they want to enjoy the fruits of these activities. That's karma yogi. And out of these karma yogis, who are better? The jnani, who are actually acquiring knowledge. But even in jnanis, who is superior, who actually considers liberation as the goal of life. And then out of these jnanis, what is superior? Out of these millions and out of this superior that we talked about, even superior to them are bhaktas, the devotees who are practicing bhakti yoga. We are all practicing bhakti yoga. Imagine our position. And then this bhakti yogi, the topmost is actually who has experienced the love of Krishna. That is perfect bhakta. And in those bhaktas, gopis are the best. And in those gopis, Srimati Radharani is best. That is 10. 11, which we discussed today, is we talked about the position of Srimati Radharani, how she is the supreme. and she is her kund, Radha kund is non different from her. And when one actually takes a bath once in Radha kund, he actually develops love of Krishna, love of divine couple in his life itself. That is actually the purpose of life. And we should actually meditate and think about that holy place of Sri Radha Kund. How can we actually meditate that all the time? We should actually work on that thing. That is what this beautiful book Nectar of Instruction covered. Any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, how we will come to know, like we have to stop, like first
Hmm.
verse shows, right, like
Hmm.
that,
Hmm.
like like we should uh, like earning more than required.
Yeah.
So how like to gauge that, Prabhuji, like collecting more
Prabhu,
funds than required?
everyone, very good point. Everyone has their own quota.
Hmm.
So we all are assigned a quota.
Hmm.
We will get only that quota, irrelevant of whether I work 2 jobs or 5 jobs or whatever
I,
it is.
Prabhuji,
Hmm.
I'm reading 16 chapter 16th verse. It will come, Prabhuji. Irrespective, whatever you
Yes.
have decided, I
Yes.
have decided, I will give it to you.
Hmm.
Okay, no need to worry
Hmm.
about anything. So don't think that, okay, I have done this job, I am intelligent. Don't
Yeah.
think in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever you want,
Hmm.
whatever it's because of previous karmas and payas,
Hmm.
yeah, I am giving to you. That's
Yeah.
all. It's not
Correct.
what you doing, it's I am giving. Maybe
Beautiful.
that we can sing this one, I think.
Correct. So everyone has a quota. One should work 8 hours. If we are doing a job, do 8 hours, not over extending. I want to earn more money. I want to please my boss. I want to do that. I want to do that. Irrelevant of
But
whatever.
nowadays, it's not happening, Prabhuji. Even they're not giving extra pace, but nobody's working 8 hours. It is extending to 10, 12 hours. So how to
Yeah,
get rid of all
Prabhu,
those things?
actually that's true. So one thing is that sometimes people around us are working hard. Not that because they are doing we work hard. That's one thing which happens. Oh, this guy is staying in the office until 8 o'clock. I'll stay. Not
Correct.
that you have to do that. Ultimately, whatever work has been assigned to you, you deliver that, and then you get off from the work. Or somehow straight somewhere, whenever you have a time, you read Krishna conscious books, you read actually Bhagavad Gita, you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you read Krishna books so that you spiritualize that. And you offer your sincere prayer, Krishna, give me intelligence to understand that what is good for me and what is not good for me. Krishna will guide you and give you that voice from within Paramatma that you should endeavor more, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. That's a reality, bro. Because on our level, we are always on mental plane. On mental plane, we can
Materialistic.
never understand. We
Yeah.
think, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll let me work hard now
Within
and
three
then I'll
years, I will
practice.
earn and then we
Yeah,
will do that.
no, it
We'll
doesn't happen
calculate
like
in
that.
that way.
It doesn't happen like that, right? So that's why we have to just limit it out, saying that what I can do, it shouldn't impact my Krishna consciousness. However job you are doing, just make sure you have boundary set. This time I start, this time I end, and don't go beyond that. That's something which we can work upon. Answer that, Prabhu.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments online? Any questions, Satya Prabhu, Naresh Prabhu? No.
No, Prabhu, I'm good.
Okay, Satya Prabhu, you have anything to add?
No, Prabhuji, I'm good.
Okay, wonderful. So I think we will end early today. There is Ekadashi today, very important Ekadashi. Did I share the past
Yes,
time?
yes, I
Yeah.
read the project
Very
extraordinary
beautiful. You
story.
imagine Papa Mokshana Ekadashi. Very important. So there is a kirtan going in the temple. So we will go and join there and we will end early today. But when we will now, here is a question for all of you. Two options. We can start with Nectar of Devotion, again written by same author, Rupa Goswami, because we just finished Nectar of Instruction. That talks about how do we grow in various stages of bhakti. That is the focus on Nectar of Devotion. Or we move to Srimad Bhagavatam. You all decide and you suggest what book you want to start with. If you ask me, my personal preference is Nectar of Devotion, because that takes step by step now how to grow in bhakti. Now we understood. It takes from here
Correct.
where I
Step by
am,
step.
how
Yeah.
do I move forward from there? And when you read, it's so sweet.
Let it be nectar of instruction.
Okay, nectar of
In
devotion,
our
right?
weekends,
Yeah.
there is Bhagavatam.
Yeah,
There-
Bhagavatam is there, nectar of devotion. We will start Bhagavatam, we can attend in the morning, so that way we are still lined up. We don't have nectar of devotion separate class, so we will continue with that. So we will end here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.